All right, hello and good evening everyone. I am Matthew Mood and I'm going to demonstrate today the rugby tackle. We are going to go ahead and talk briefly about the framework of the tackle, but we also are going to go over when it would be used, the most important time to use it, how to do it safely and effectively. By doing that, we will learn the framework so you can use it to develop that skill further and further on. All right, and with me today, I have Troy McClure. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Troy McClure.
All right, now Troy, have you had any experience before with rugby?
Beginner.
Okay, so we have a beginner level, so this can be used for any level, but we are going to take this skill and we're going to develop it so you can go on from beginner to intermediate to advanced. And with that, you're just going to develop that skill a little bit by little, not here today, but throughout your time practicing this and playing the game of rugby. Okay, so no knowledge about it, never played before, so today's going to be a very simple process, going slow to learn the framework of it. All right, I'm going to put this down and then we're going to get into it. All right, so as you can see on our board, we have the rugby tackle. Some things we're going to discuss today, we're going to discuss the technique right here. There's four main parts of the technique. We have body positioning, we have footwork, we have shoulder placement, and we have cheek to cheek. We'll learn a little bit about this method. It is the best way to ensure that you are tackling correctly and properly every single time. And then once we learn it, we're going to demonstrate this tackle, and we're going to use 5 tries to go with these 4 techniques to go ahead and ensure that you are tackling properly and effectively. Afterwards, we're going to go a little into a discussion type where we talk about the feedback, where we're going to have some improves, some sustains, and then give you a little bit more feedback differently than what we are going to talk about when we do the actual demonstration. Okay, so let's go over the rugby tackle, when you use it, how it's used in rugby. So in rugby, the tackle can be used both on the offense and the defense. Okay. Now, on the offense, we're going to use this rugby tackle in a slightly different way. It's going to be a half tackle, which is called a ruck. And in that ruck, you're going to basically build the foundation for someone to come and get a ball from you to keep that ball moving forward. Now, on the defense, we're going to go more into this actual tackle, and that's going to be where we want to get that ball from the other team. Okay, so we will use this tackle more on the defense, but you can kind of see some of the same techniques, methods used on the offense, okay? So let's talk about what those techniques are. So body positioning, right? As a whole, we're going to talk about the overall body positioning. So with that, I'm going to demonstrate first so you can just watch, okay? So you want your shoulders, your feet to be shoulder width apart, right? We're going to come into a nice proper squat here, and this is where I want you to kind of be when you do that tackle. Now you're not going to be this upright, you're going to lean forward, butt's going to be out, and that back is going to create an arch. Now from here, you want to take this foot or this foot, whichever one is your dominant, and that's where you're going to lead with your power from. So you're going to come in about halfway, and you're going to wrap around that person with your shoulders driving in, so kind of near like their pelvis, and the arms are going to wrap around their waist, and this cheek is going to be on this cheek. Now that is the most important and crucial part of this tackle. If you have cheek to cheek, you'll never go wrong, right? Because that's going to always be your guide for tackling properly. So I'm going to demonstrate on you real quick just so you can see how it kind of would look, and then we're going to go one by one into each step of this, okay? So right here, I want you to stand up straight, put those feet together, all right? And I'm going to demonstrate on you. So I'm going to ensure that I have a proper shoulder width apart. I'm coming down to a squat. I'm going to drive myself forward. So I'm going to come forward with this right leg. I'm going to come in, shoulders driving towards that pelvis. Hands are going to wrap around that waist. And here I am cheek to cheek. So this cheek is on this cheek. And here I would tackle in, right? And we're going to get into that and show you how it is like a little bit faster. But first we must truly take these skills and learn them first. So we're going to do some drills, demonstrate, and how we can take each step one at a time. So first thing I want you to do is get that footwork, right? So you're here, stand up straight. You're going to open it up, shoulder width apart, right? Make sure you're comfortable. Perfect. Stand back up. All right, right here, take it one step at a time. So here I am. This is the proper way we should do it, okay? Will you do more dominant on your right or left side?
Right.
All right, so that right foot, we're going to draw it in. That's what you want to do with that power. So now you do lunges, you correctly know how to do a lunge or a Bavarian split squat, right? So that lunge or that Bavarian split squat, you're gonna come in, drive forward, and bring this left one down. Perfect. This is a nice skill, a nice exercise you can do to work on that driving power. That driving foot is gonna be what leads your tackle. It's gonna be what helps you take that person to the ground quicker, what's gonna make it more effective, and essentially also keep you upright. So when that right foot is out, that left foot is back, we wanna make sure that we're not lifting off the ground, we're making sure that we're grounded, okay? So a nice little lunge here, up. Let's do 5 of those. So we're gonna do a nice little lunge. Take your right foot and move forward, all right, and lunge down. Lunge down, perfect, lunge up, give me 2, back up, give me 3, back down, 2 more, 4, back down, and 5. There we go, perfect. It's a nice little exercise we can work on to strengthen that leg, both of them actually, but also to help with that driving power. Because again, you want all this power to move forward when you come up for that tackle. Right now at a slower pace, it's not gonna be as easy for you to see, but when you get to that fast pace, you'll see how it's effective, okay? So now the next thing we're gonna do is work on that squat, okay? So we're gonna do 5 squats, shoulder length apart. That butt's gonna stick out, that back is gonna arch slightly, and we're gonna come straight down. Ready? We're gonna get 5 of those. Down and up. Down and up. Down and up. Down and up. Last one, back up. Perfect. So we got that footwork and we got that squat. Those 2 are things you can work on to help better your tackle. So now let's put them into play here. So foot, shoulder width apart. Perfect. We're gonna put that foot forward and we're gonna squat down. Perfect. That's our starting basis for the tackle. Back over here. Now that next part of the tackle, okay? That squat is gonna come from this, all right? Stand back up. It's gonna come in to drive that foot forward and come down, all right? Perfect. That head's gonna be up, you're looking straight, and now we're gonna try that cheek to cheek. So I'm gonna come a little bit closer to you, and I want you to go ahead and take what I just taught with the driving foot forward and that squat, and I want you to go ahead and move forward and put your cheek on my cheek, okay? So it's right on right because you're that right dominant, okay? Here we go, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Drop, cheek to cheek, perfect. Now with that, you did well with how you came down, but now I want you to get a little bit lower. You're still a little bit high. The best part about the tackle is the lower you get, the more effective that tackle is gonna be. So we're gonna do that one more time, but I wanna see it a little bit lower, okay? 3, 2, 1, down. Perfect, that is amazing. That is how low I want you to be every single time, okay? It was great before, but that was even better. So now we're gonna talk about wrapping those arms and driving forward, okay? So when you're here, I want you to go back down into that position. Ready? 3, 2, 1, come on in. Perfect. Now when you're here, those shoulders are gonna wrap around. Perfect, because now when you bring them in, when we go to tackle, it's gonna be easier to take me down to the ground, okay? Those shoulders being right there at the pelvis is gonna be you in control of my whole lower body. And see how I shift? Perfect, and that's what we wanna do. So when you do this, you're gonna take me down like this, and that's how I would go into the ground. Perfect. All right, so here we go. We're not gonna go take me down this time, but I want you to focus on doing the whole tackle very slowly, just like that, okay? Ready? 3, 2, 1, come in. Perfect, perfect. That was amazing, okay? So now we're gonna do that 5 times, and I'm gonna go make a tally of making sure you get your body positioning correct, your footwork, your shoulder placement, and that cheek to cheek, okay? We wanna really focus on getting this good, and repetitions is what makes that better, okay? So we're gonna do 5 times, a countdown from 3, and then we're gonna shift it so you can see a different angle when we watch the visual feedback, okay? Here we go. Ready? Try number 1. 3, 2, 1, come in. Okay, so that foot placement was great. Where was your cheek?
Where you're at.
Yeah, so we want to have on cheek to cheek, remember? So let's go ahead and document this. Your foot placement was great. Your body position in the beginning, you had that shoulder width apart, and you came in perfectly, but you were just too high. So we're gonna mark that as a yes, but for that shoulder placement, because you weren't cheek to cheek, your shoulder will get up here. We don't wanna really do that. That can be dangerous to the other player, but also it's not healthy for you because that's how you can get a shoulder injury, you know, a dislocated shoulder, a clavicle injury, something like that. So these are gonna be X's. So we're gonna take this and we're gonna improve, okay? So this next try, let's try to get all 4, okay? But I really want you to focus this time on that shoulder placement, that cheek to cheek, okay? Here we go. Start back upright, because you're gonna be like in your regular game. All right, and I want you to start from every single bit of it. So the shoulder placement, the footwork, the cheek to cheek, and and how you place your shoulders. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Okay, so.
Messed up my feet.
Yep, you messed up your feet a little bit. So, were you nervous? What's going through your mind?
I'm overthinking it.
Overthinking it? Okay. And that's the biggest thing, right? We want to make sure we're not in our heads. We want to be confident about this drive. All right? So, shoulder width, driving forward, down, and wrap.
Yep.
That is the biggest thing. It is those simple 4 steps. I don't want you to overthink it, so let's go to the board, right? Same thing. This time, your footwork was still good. You had that shoulder width apart, but that body positioning was still not right because this time you weren't as low as you were, which also caused you to have your shoulder placement not in the right spot and you weren't cheek to cheek. Okay, so we went down a little bit, but we said it was the overthinking. So this time I want you to just do it, okay? I want you to escape your mind, right? You are here to focus on every single fundamental of this tackling, right? So I'm gonna count you down with 3, and I want you to go into that perfect tackle, okay? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, come in. Okay, so better, progress, right? Every set counts. We had that cheek to cheek, it was perfect. Right on the money, you had that right cheek on the right side of my cheek, right? So that was amazing. Because of that, your shoulder placement was in the perfect spot, around that pelvis so I could easily go down. Now your footwork was a little off, right? You started with that right foot, but then you shimmy to your left. You want to stay on that dominant side. So remember, footwork is also one of the most important things you can do because this is your foundation, right here. We're here, and we're making that foundation so you can still stay strong. So we're gonna let next time. Body positioning, we're gonna call it neutral because it would have been perfect if that footwork was great. Everything else about it was amazing. You got low. That footwork was a little bit of an issue. All right. Try number 4. Escape, right? We're not going to overthink it. We're going to go right into it. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Come at me. Perfect. That was the perfect setup, right? There was nothing wrong with that. We're going to go all 4s. Check. There we go. That footwork, amazing. Shoulder width apart. Shoulders came straight in to my pelvis. Cheek to cheek was on point. I want to see one more of those. One more perfect, okay? Here we go. Try number 5. 3, 2, 1. Come at me. Yes. High five. Great job. Great job. We had all 4s again. We had that shoulder placement coming straight into my pelvis. We had that footwork was amazing. Body positioning, you were low. And that cheek to cheek, you were on it. Okay, so let's have a seat real quick. We're gonna talk about some improves, sustains, and feedback, but also go into how we can actually make this better in a practicing game environment. Okay. Okay, so right here, first of all, what are some things that you think helped you get to that perfect score on try number 4 and 5?
I started with a wider stance.
Wider stance, so you had a better foundation from the get-go. Okay, 1, 2, and 3 was not so much. It wasn't bad. It just there was room for improvement. Even now, with that 4 and 5 being perfect, we can always improve. So maybe this time you can think about like at a faster speed, which we're going to get to. How can you ensure that you're not overthinking it? Okay. So let's go into improves. Okay. So when it comes to that placement of the footwork, the body positioning of this drill, what do you think we can do to improve, to ensure that other athletes can get that tackle?
It's like anything, it's repetition.
Repetition, perfect. That's what I love to hear. Now, with that repetition, what happens when it's a different environment, right? So let me say we're in a game, right? And one of your biggest issues was you were overthinking it. So what happens when you're in that game, everything's going quickly around you, right? How do you focus and ensure that you're maintaining the proper footwork, the proper shoulder placement, body positioning, and cheek-to-cheek method when you go in for a tackle?
Keep the foundation simple.
Keep the foundation simple. Perfect answer, right? You never want to lose the basic fundamentals. You know, in a game, it's going to be quicker. There's going to be more of an adrenaline rush. Players are going to be scattered. But if we maintain that perfect tackle into it and maintain those fundamentals, every single time you won't mess up. There's no way that we can possibly mess up that tackle if you stick to those 4 basic fundamentals. Okay? So sustains are going to be keeping the fundamentals. So when we get to those different scenarios, you know you're not going to add anything fancy. You're not going to try to add anything where you do like a quick jerk. Same is going to happen. You're going to go in, shoulders down, cheek to cheek, footwork, drive that force forward, and tackle to the ground, right? We're not going to add anything extra to it. All right. So now in terms of feedback, I think this drill really helped in terms of setting you up for a baseline, right? Now, as a beginner, something we could do differently is we could have had like a dummy bag. So instead of me being the person you're tackling, that dummy bag, right, you can wrap around and keep practicing and actually use a lot of driving force to go forward. That's one thing we can do for a beginner. We have some more, we can add that in. But also, we can have another player here and have you actually match up with somebody one-on-one to see that full speed, how it looks like, okay? Those are things we can talk about. But in terms of your actual feedback, your body looked great in that positioning, right? Eventually, we got there. It took a little bit of time, but we got there. Make sure we are doing workouts that are going to fit into the criteria of what it needs to tackle. So work on some more squats, work on some more lunges. Anything really leg-based is going to help you set that strong baseline so you can have a strong foundation when you go in for every single tackle, okay? And we're going to see that when we do this fast-paced one and how it's going to look. You're going to see that maybe it takes a little bit more because at a faster speed, you're going to focus on maintaining that driving force and that stable foundation, okay?